Hello everybody and welcome to Total Annihilation Replays. Today I'm continuing our journey through the tournament here, the Total Annihilation World Championship Tournament played using ProTA. And today I've got a battle across the Baltic here between Smokester, who comes from our good friends, who is, sorry, with our good friends in Denmark, and Metn, who is the TA Gods Finnish player. And they conveniently here have chosen the first map to battle on as John's Pond. Now, I actually don't know who was responsible for what picks and bans. I'm actually just trying to get these streams knocked out here, so I didn't do my research properly on this one. But if I had to guess, I'd say this one was probably picked by Metn. This is an OTA map that favors him. Generally, Smokester is a newer player, which we're happy to have him, but probably has fewer games on this map than Metn does. So, without further ado, we'll get started here. If you've been on this channel for a little bit, you're familiar with the way John's Pond is. You know, good resources, good wind, okay title, but the pond is incredibly important to fight over. So, a lot of different options too, as far as either going air first, or trying to go fast sea, or drop a lab, reclaim to the sea. A bunch of different choices that you have here. So. You can see Metn and Smokester both walking two mexes. Metn has chosen Arm, as is his custom, and Smokester here has brought Core to the battle here. So, two mexes from both sides, 3 wins. So very similar builds at this point. Smokester going for the vehicle start, whereas Metn is going into KBots. So there's 2 schools of thought in that. The vehicles, they move faster. They're able to get these mexes capped faster because there's a greater distance. But if I recall, they can't actually get up here and reclaim these. Whereas the KBots move slower, but they can get up there and reclaim. So you're going to have your mexes capped faster with vehicle, but you're not going to get as much metal as you possibly could with the Ulok trees, which are worth 50 metal apiece. So you can see 5 over here, 5 over here. That's 500 total, or 6 over here actually. So that makes it 550 total. Same story over here. But Smokester, 5 wins, got his first con out right there. You can see he's quickly working on that. Metn quickly throws down a missile tower, just as a protect him from bomber. This is typically the bomber's run. You can see where he built his wind. You can see that's the experience right there. No cover wind on that side. Smokester quickly also pushing out his missile towers in case of a early air rush. So, and Metn choosing to go 3 cons. He's working on a 4th here. So both are trying to invest a little more in land. Although actually it looks like Smokester is going to stick with the 2 cons here. So if you go 2 cons, you generally want to be in the water, starting your shipyard around 2 minutes. So he's a little bit behind on that clock right there. But he did go for a slightly slower start with more energy, more missile towers, and he walked 2 mexes instead of doing a single. So Metn here, 1, 2, 3. Actually, it looks like he stopped at 3 cons. Nope, 4. There we go. We got this guy right here, hiding underneath the trees. So we went 4 cons to Smokester's 2. So Metn is going to have more build power. And he's hitting the water at about the same time. So 1 vehicle con is going to build faster than 1 KBot con, but 2 KBot cons build faster than 1 vehicle con. So you can kind of do the quick little rough math here to say, like, okay, well, Metn's going to be in much better shape as far as overall building on the land. Metn starting out with the C-con. Smokester just a little bit behind here, just by a few seconds. Hasn't started anything out of his shipyard. There he goes. Now he's got his shipyard activated. He's starting with a con too, but by the time he's starting that con, Metn's already got his first one out. And Metn immediately switching into the skeeters. Okay, so you can kind of see the speed advantage of the cons is kind of negated for Smokester at this point, because he stopped to build the extra wind. And Metn is already here, and he's already reclaiming too. 3 skeets to Smokester's 1. Now, a 3 skeet advantage if you're, say 5 on 2 is a big deal, but if you're going 15 on 12, it's not as big of a problem. So Smokester needs to be careful at this point. See, Metn just keeping up at this point, even with the K-bots. Metn goes in, he's incinerating the Ulok trees. This is a chance for Smokester here if he sees it, and chances are he doesn't, because on Smokester's side, he's not going to see. So here he goes, he's got one over him. Now at this point, Metn has got superior forces here, and this is actually going to put him up by yet another one. There you go. So Smokester goes and he ignites the remainder of these, so he robs Metn of that. So that's a nice little move that he did there. But you see Metn is ahead by approximately 600 metal here. So is better building, and then throw that on top of the Uloks he was able to reclaim as well. You see he's got 2 mexes down. Smokester's just got 1. He is taking a bit of a risk here, putting out a second con, especially when he's down in the skeet count. And you can see Metn's done the same, though, so that'll actually keep them even as far as where they were before, relatively. Smokester's still going to be behind. This raid, Metn is easily going to be able to see that and trap it. He does, and he's got the advantage, too. This is similar to what I did if you watched the Me versus Vapor game, but you can see Metn's numbers are just too good. He's going to be able to destroy these 5 before Smokester can try and complete the encirclement on this side and trap him in. So it's not even going to be a true encirclement. At this point, these guys are running into their death. You can see now Metn nearly double Smokester's skeet count. You see the con vehicles have just now kind of caught up. Idle guy right here. Flip that guy into wins. Or if you're worried about being outnumbered too, you can try putting a few missile towers on shore. When you think about it, you're like, okay, I've got build power on land, but I need it in the sea. So how can I get it to the sea? Well, the best you can do in that situation is get some firepower here on the shore, so that way you can try and draw them into a fight where you can even out the skeet numbers. Smokes are still moving along, but Metn's here. He's swinging down. He's going to catch this con out. Immediately loses a big chunk of its health, and it's going to go down without really Smokester being able to do anything about it. Metn's got a second lab down. It looks like he used his con for that, so that would actually be, you know, remember I was talking about if you win a little fight, it gives you a bit of time. You kind of get to decide what you want to do with it. Do I build a con? Metn instead dropped a shipyard with it. This is actually a really nice move by Metn right here. Remember what I was talking about, taking your land build power and converting it into sea? This is another way to do it. So Smokester actually could do the same thing on this side here. Because to stop your con, to either build another con or to build another shipyard is going to stop him from continuing to hose out skeets. You can see that's what's happening right here. Smokester capped out on it, maxed out on his metal, but he has to use his commander to push out the shipyard, meaning he's going to fall even further behind. Smokester sees this con right here. He's going to try and make a play for it, but he does not have the numbers. And you can see Metn doing a nice job here, throwing down the Dragon's Teeth, trying to defend it. He might actually get it here. He does. Nicely done by Smokester. No wreck too. Yep. This wreck field is on Metn's side, and you can see here he's got some missile towers that helps cover the wreck field. So that's a nice little move by Smokester. Unfortunately, he does not have the build power to use that metal. You can see that metal is all just going to waste at this point. Odd little walk here from Metn's commander. Both sides have all their mexes capped at this point. Nice little off-roading by that con vehicle. Advantage is definitely Metn right now. You can see he's way ahead on metal production. But he has enough here to match because Metn has had his comm kind of walking around. So at this point, he doesn't have his comm there. This would be an opportunity for for Smokester to catch back up in the sea. But you can see he is short on energy, and that's where this guy, having been building winds instead of sitting there, that would be very helpful for right now because he is stalling on energy. Metn is taking his advantage and he's converting that into advance. Smokester's just having trouble getting up here. Idle con there. Take advantage when you're playing, just get into the habit of hitting Control B to see those idle cons. Keep him busy. If you can get in a fight here, you can see that sonar is kind of absorbing these missiles. So you can turn your shoot all off if you're worried about that. He's coming in. He's going to raid this metal extractor. You can actually shoot them from the surface in John Spawn. The water is shallow enough. But now he's busy shooting that, and then Metn comes in to defend. He has to actually quit shooting it so that way he can get his searchers out of there. And it looks like he's got more build power on Skeets than Metn does. This really wasn't something that was possible in the OTA. The build range of the construction units, which is so short, it was awfully hard to be able to come down and sometimes find the place where you could use a land con to build a shipyard. Again, just completely out of energy. There you go. Now he's getting some wind up from Smokester. Metn is out of energy too, but that's because he's pushing out some Farks. This little nest of missile towers is a nice place. This is where Smokester does want the fight to happen. Still accessing that accessing the metal because he is so short on energy. And Metn moving into Pelicans, and that'll counter the Skeets and the missile towers quite well. Smokester's doing a good job of controlling that wreck field there, but again, he doesn't really need it. Just now he's getting his energy under control. Cleans up a con here, nicely done. But here comes trouble in the form of the Pelican. Speed this up just a touch. Not working on his geos at this point. He's also getting mohos up. The metal disparity at this point has got to be pretty high. There you go, nearly 5,000 difference in favor of Metn. Smokester taking his metal. He wants to go advance. You can see he's trying to drop that right there, but he is several minutes behind Metn on this one, and several thousand metal behind. This map is small enough that you could take your missile towers and force fire behind the Pelicans to get the missiles to hit them, so that way you can take them out. The missile towers are quite good at killing Pelicans when you do that, but the problem is that takes your time. So Smokester sees it at this point. He's not able to get his con out of there on time, and down it goes. So let's see, it looks like, yeah, so Smokester's just using it. All this metal's right here for Metn to take, and he's moving for it. So building right here, you can see he's continuing to take advantage of that really strong wind. He's got his geo up. No geos here from Smokester, but he's got a decent amount of winds that he's solved his energy crisis. Pushing out some enforcers. Enforcers do quite well against Pelicans. Not as good as they used to in OTA, because in OTA, the Pelican bug, where the wrecks would stop, one Pelican wreck would sink and then stop the other Pelicans from going behind it. It would basically cause a traffic jam. Then the enforcers could sit there and pick them off. But that isn't the case anymore, so Pelicans actually got a little buff in that regard versus enforcers and crusaders. But they still do quite well, especially if you get critical mass of them. You can see landing some shots. Once they get their veteran status too, then they start to hit a lot more. So Metn doesn't look like he really wants to fully commit into this. I don't know if he has enough to win it, especially against two enforcers. Nice little job by Smokester here. He sees the wrecks disappearing. He swings up there to take out the con that was doing the dirty work. There you go, and now he's working on a necro, and he's got this. So this is likely for additional build power in the land here, and you can see he's reclaiming, trying to get his advanced metal production up. Two enforcers here. A lot more Pelicans now from Metn though, and this is just 3 Farks working on that Pelican lab. Multiple working on this. He's getting some Crusaders of his own. That's the advantage of having more metal to play with. You want to be very careful with your enforcers. They're a lot of metal, they take a lot to build, and they're quite powerful, but they are vulnerable if he can get up close. See, Smokester just stalling at this point. He needs to be able to get out here and start picking up this wreckage, but he really just doesn't have a way of doing it other than sending one of these cons out, which might be a good idea, because right now these guys are just stalling. So grab one of them. There he goes. So he grabs one of those and he's going to head out. These wrecks are your safest ones, although once he sees them disappearing, then he knows he's got an objective in there to take out. This is just too many Pelicans at this point. 3 enforcers. It's decent numbers, but these need to start moving back at this point here. There he goes. Metn sees it. They're not moving back in time. He's going to be able to come in and get them taken out. One goes down. To the depths with ye. Another one goes down. And in comes the Crusader. Finish off the last enforcer here. The Navy is sunk. Metn has 1 per pond. Gimp's a little too late here. These are nice big wrecks too that Metn's going to be able to come in and just take. These are places right here where you can degun relatively easy from. I can see why Metn's basically backing up at this point. He's like, okay, I won the sea, I'm going to consolidate it. He can keep pressing once you have enough destroyers, but he's going at this point to simply just consolidate his gains. Defend against this. At this point, you're like, okay, well, I've lost the sea. Gimps are great when they're on the water. They're not so great on the land. Get some pyros out. They torch bells. Literally. See here, these the Pelicans, their missiles too. He's got so many of them that these Gimps are just going to get completely wrecked on land. Also, if you got tons of metal too, put out a DDM. There you go, he sees the Moho at this point. Comes on in, he's scouting as well. He's going to see that Smokester's got next to nothing, and that the game is his. Smokester agrees, says GG. Metn says GG. And game 1 goes to the finish. There you go, he's working on his advanced air at that point too. Gotta get to those dirty birds before the game is over. Alright, so there you have it. Game 1, Smokester versus Metn. Legend 615 is Smokester. And Metn right here, 53,000 metal to Smokester's 34,000, so that's gonna be tough to beat. And you can kind of see the steps that were made along the way that helped Metn get from, an even standpoint to just being a little bit further ahead. So Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this peek into the tournament. Of course, the tournament playlist is linked in the description below, so you can check out Meal Solutions' channel where you can find the rest of the games that have been casted thus far. Ones that have not been done by me have been done by him. Hopefully I'll continue to get a few more of these out for you. And between he and I, we'll be able to have a complete tournament available for you all to view. So, without further ado, thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you have not already, and hit the like and leave a comment down below. Love chatting with you guys about the games, and I will catch you around some other time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.